increasing sales efficiency with artificial intelligence agents. Today, I want to describe you a project we've done for a set of companies that had one goal: how, without changing a company talent structure, meaning we keep the same people in our company. We want to just analyze what's going on every day. We don't want to change IT systems. We don't want to invest in anything new. We just want to go and see what's happening and improve that. So essentially, we want to make sure that people are working the same way. We just give them a new insight, encourage them working better. And that's what it's conversation genius agent I want to talk to you about, giving you a chance to learn what it means to analyze the current structure using artificial intelligence and leveraging, improving that structure without transformational effort. No software changes, no processes redesign, just the raw current state. It is what it is. First of all, I want to tell you about the situation. Imagine you have a set of chains. It can be a dealership, it can be a store, it can be any situation that requires consultancy. So you sell cars, you sell a golf equipment, you sell American football things, you sell hardware that will build soccer fields, you sell heavy machinery, everything that is important to bring consultancy to the next level of efficiency. So you make sell, but through helping other people. Basically, the critical part and critical component of all of that is a conversation, which is a voice, sentiment, and the information. Essentially, those three elements you care about. And that conversation happens through different channels. It might be a phone call, it might be a face-to-face meeting. Sometimes it might be a text, but because the issue is complicated, it requires a lot of adjustment, a lot of configuration, a lot of conversation. In this particular case, you want to make sure that there is not so much text because you need personal contact, face-to-face contact with the another party that is going to make a decision about purchasing or repurchasing, or it's a repetition sale, or it's a retention factor, whatever, you name it. In this particular case, your material, the things you want to catch, the things you want to get, is a raw conversation between many people. It can be a two salesmen, two supportive team to one customer. It may be a few customers, maybe a husband and a wife, or maybe a family, or maybe partners with one salesman. So we need to identify each point of view as the component of that raw material. And that's the beautiful place for artificial intelligence to come and solve that problem. So with that ordinary conversation, everyday trigger processes, we can get more without changing more. And that's what I want to talk today about. So first of all, artificial intelligence, multi-model approach can understand voice. Voice is a very interesting part of every business insight because except for information, it carries a tone, sentiment, and many other things that an email or text cannot carry. It's amazing in recognizing voice, playing without audio, and getting that extract. From that extract, we can have few elements. One is transcription, which is essentially voice to text. Second is a sentiment analysis, which is essentially a wrap up around the information we're carrying. And the third thing is structure, insight, summaries, bullet points, and everything what you can extract from the two first elements. We can add Fourth element, I'm sorry, which is essentially a pattern recognition. So we could see for patterns that would be hard to see for people because AI can analyze so many touch points that we people, human beings, are unable to do that, or at least with such a short amount of time. And in this particular case, imagine you have thousands and thousands of conversations going across your whole chain of stores. It can be a tire shop, it can be a baseball shop, it can be a hardware facility, it can be a chain of pediatrics, chain of stores where the doctors are, anything you can imagine. And you carry all that conversations to analyze them. Artificial intelligence models, as I purposely use plural here, can handle this. Why I'm using this as a plural thing? Because depends on what kind of conversation we want to carry, we need to choose a different artificial intelligence model. So, for instance, if this is a law office across the world and there are law type of conversations, attorney type of conversations, probably we want to lean towards anthropic artificial intelligence models like Claude and others. But when we talk about multi-language sales conversation and marketing conversations around the world, we probably will be going into Gemini family of models that are manufactured by Google company. So depends on this one, we want to choose the model. Then going deeper in this conversation genius environment, we want to make sure that model is properly prepared for that exercise, which takes us to a situation when we care about things like temperature, more creative analysis, less creative analysis, top P factor, more words, more extensive analysis, less extensive analysis. We might look into grounding, structure, or maybe JSON structure, more technical things. But we got to make sure that we configure that properly so that conversations have the best possible robot to analyze them and get the output out of them. Second element is where we get that information from. It might be an IDR system that we hooked up to and understand what's going there. It might be your CRM system when you store your audio files after each phone conversation. It might be an online meeting with a potential customer of your car dealership, or it might be a different conversation stored in a different system, like, for instance, Google Workspace. So connecting to those places, we get the information and pass it to the artificial intelligence agent. So how we solve the issue? Essentially, based on my use case that we implemented for our customer, we learned that, for instance, salespeople forgot about asking about trade-in. That's interesting case because if you're selling a car, the easier for you is to get the new one by 40% easier if you are offered to take the old one from you. That's what it's called trade-in. You want to trade in because that remove the obstacle of having the current car instead of having a new car, right? So salespeople forgot about asking them, especially when the customer is willing to buy the new one. Even if they're going to buy a new one, it's still making easier for them to remove the old car from the garage. So that's what we found out. Second, what we found out is there is a certain amount of questions that each salesperson needs to ask, for instance, in heavy machinery thing. Some salesmen are afraid of asking hard questions like when you're going to buy because they feel they put a pressure on the customer. But that information is required to build a healthy sales funnel. So AI found out which sales guy has an issue or challenge with asking what kind of type of questions, which lead us to personalized training. By cutting this out, we know that sales guy number one requires this part of training, and sales guy number two requires this part of training. So why don't we just use this for personalized training? That was another finding. The third finding was that in one of the chain stores, the phone calls were directed not properly. So the customer on the phone end up talking to the wrong person in the sales department or service department, or in the case of the store, just the reception department. So that gave our customers a lot of 35% of healthy leads because people get annoyed they were not directed to the right person. That also was found out by AI agent by analyzing the conversations. So wrapping it up a little bit, this is the case when AI properly crafted, working on the same process in the same company with the same people, got a lot of update, a lot of insight, but still managed to give AI a chance to deliver the results without revolution in a company.